Tag and Brag Nation, what is up? It is your boy David. It's another fun-filled week in Tag and Brag HQ. Charles Heedy off of Facebook asked us, what kind of arrows do you use? And we're going to kind of take that a step farther, and we're going to actually build an arrow. So Dean and I have been getting pretty detailed in our archery equipment. You know, we spend so much time shooting and preparing throughout the early season, so why not focus that attention and detail into our arrows? So what we do now is we actually build each one of our arrows from scratch. We shoot blood sport arrows, the impact hunters. It's a thinner diameter spine. We kind of go for the knocking power and the penetration over the speed of the arrow, but that's kind of all personal preference. That's just what we prefer over, you know, over a thicker diameter, lighter arrow that's going to travel faster. You're not going to have as much trajectory with that arrow, especially downrange. These arrows are just a stronger arrow. They have more knocking power, especially for the big game that we're hunting. That's just kind of what we prefer. Each one of these arrows has a spine. So the spine is where the carbon started to roll. It's the thickest part of the arrow. That has the least amount of give and flex when that thing is coming off the string. If the spine of the arrow, which is the strongest part of the arrow, is sitting on the bottom portion of your rest, you're going to have a lot more flex upward than you are downward when that arrow is released off the string. So it doesn't necessarily matter where the spine is. I like to have the spine of the arrow either on top of the arrow when it's sitting on the rest or on the bottom. But the most important thing is that it's consistent with all of your arrows, so that each of your arrows shoots consistently. Not saying that you have to do this, but this is just kind of a run through of what Dean and I do. I take the knockoff, like I said, start with a bare bone spine, and I hold the arrow up to the light, and you can see that mark. It almost looks like just a little rough cross hatches, a little stream of it running down the arrow. I'll find my spine, and I put a little mark on the arrow where the spine is. So what I like is I like to have the spine down, because I like that arrow to have the most flex up and away from the rest when it's getting released off the bow. So when I mark my spine, I'm going to put my top fletching directly opposite of the marking of the spine on the arrow. I put my knock back in, and then we use a boning simple jig. I think it was, I don't know, $30 or $40 off Amazon. You can get them at Bass Pro, Cabela's, Dick's. Shooting consistently, you're going to bust fletchings, and you don't always have enough time to go to the bow shop, get all your arrows refletched. Maybe you only have one arrow that needs to be refletched, so time consuming wise, you know, it's nice to have this in your arsenal. I have a little mark on the jig marking where I want the spine to line up, and that's going to line the spine up perfectly opposite of where my first fletching goes, which is going to be my top fletching. All we use is, you know, your standard super glue to put your fletchings on. What you want to do, I have the jig set up to have a little helical. There's like a measurement tape here on the end of this little clamp, and that's where you put your fletchings in. We fletch with the blazer vanes. Stick that in there, and it clamps down pretty tight on its own. There's a magnet on the back side of this clamp, and it makes it real easy. The magnet goes to the magnet on here. You push it down to your arrow and just let it sit. Or there's a little valley in your vane, and I just like to make sure that that's completely filled up with super glue, so that when I press that onto the arrow, that all the voids are filled, and you know, you're going to get the most sealage out of that super glue. Make sure those veins stay on there real strong. So all you do, kind of got to make a quick flip when you're putting this on there, because you don't want the super glue to drip. You just make sure. And when I press this down, I'm just using light pressure, and I just want to make sure that that seam right there is completely sealed. So we got our fletched arrow now. Now all we got to do is put on the outsert. These Bloodsport Impact Hunters come with an outsert because they are a thinner diameter spine. What we use is a 2-part epoxy. It's just a Loctite epoxy. We like the extended time as far as the dry time goes, just because it seems to be a little bit stronger. Find a piece of cardboard, piece of paper or something, and you want to make sure that you get both substances oozing out of there. Same ratio. And the biggest thing is you have to make sure that these are mixed together very well. And it'll actually turn white when it's properly mixed. And that's when you know that you should be good to go. All bonding should be A1. With these outserts, honestly, the more glue, the better. You want this glue to be seeping out of the edge so that you know you got full bondage in there. This thing is not coming off. I just take the tip of the arrow, I just roll it, and make sure that about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of the end of the arrow is covered in this epoxy. Take that outsert, and when you stick it on, twist it on and off. Make sure, like I said, everything is covered in there. And there you have it. Some of these outserts are a little bit harder to go on than others. You just want to make sure, you know, press down on the arrow a little bit, put it on a table, press it down, make sure that outsert's on all the way. We wait 24 hours when we build these arrows. I mean, there's really no sense of rushing it. It's only going to fault your equipment. So make sure everything's dry. Give your arrows 24 hours to dry, and you know, you should be ready to go. We need to strap a Ramcat to this thing, and we're ready to send it down range. Tag and Brag Nation, thank you once again for stopping by this week. We hope you found this video informative. Charles Heedy, thank you for the question. Remember, we'll be right back here next week. We're going to be doing some more jazzy stuff, so send us your comments. Comment on this video of what you want to see next week, and maybe, just maybe, your question will be aired on the Q&A. We thank you once again for stopping by. As always, it's good to see you. But for now, we got some more arrow slinging and flinging and building to do, because it's about that time to start flinging.